Brian Dale here, aka Brian the Flippin' Sailor. I'm glad you joined us here on my YouTube channel. We're gonna go back in time and go take a look at that little sailboat and then go check out this old houseboat that I fixed up a little bit and then sold it. So let's go. All right, there it is. It's a 26-foot boat, and it used to be used for a school that used it to train people how to sail. So let's go up top and take a look at it.
Now there's the V berth. Now you got to remember, I bought this boat for $2,500, and I didn't know anything about sailboats, on what could be wrong with the sailboat or what to look for when purchasing a sailboat. So you got to think, that boat didn't smell too good. But I just wanted a boat that was cheap. I could learn how to sail, so I really didn't care. I was going to buy it no matter what. Those sails, I had no idea if the sails were good or not, and I didn't know if they were, by looking at them, if they were good or not. But it was like going to college. By the time I was done with that boat, I knew exactly what could go wrong, what to look for if I purchased another small boat.
First time sailing. So we got here, we're in Osage Beach. We just got in the boat, we got the motor started, we're cruising down the Osage River. We haven't put the sails up, so we're not sailing. But we're gonna cruise, we're gonna motor cruise all day today. And then in the morning, we're gonna put all the sails up, and then we'll start practicing our hand at using the sail.
The Lake of the Ozarks is one of the largest man-made lakes in the U.S. The lake is a result of building Bagnell Dam back in 1929 for electricity. And after opening, a few fishing camps popped up, and 3 decades later it turned into a summer playground. At the north end of the river is TRUMAN Dam, which was completed in 1979, and the dam was used for flood control. Now the paddlefish, is more commonly called spoonbill, is one of America's largest freshwater fish. Now it's a sturgeon. They're fished every year during spoonbill season around March. The Department of Conservation replenishes fish stock by harvesting eggs from the female spoonbill by raising them in hatcheries until they're ready to be released back into the wild. Now on the way on our trip, we did it during spoonbill season. So here's one of the guys. They spend their day snagging with a hook and dragging the hook along the bottom of through the channels, and then catch those spoonbill. Now there's one, that one right there, that's a pretty good size one, but they get a lot bigger than that. So I just remember my granddad when I was a kid bringing them home for a fish fry when we were real young back in Kearney, Missouri.
All right, we successfully made it to the anchorage.
Now this is where we slept, right there in that little hole, and then there's another place to lay around, and right there is an alcohol burner stove which we use for heat. So it wasn't that bad, except that everything is wet. The floor is wet, the bathroom floor is wet, and so it's a pretty moist environment. Then the outside, though, is beautiful.
Now once we left Bagnell Dam and got about 20-30 miles down, we were in the river. So there wasn't really any good sailing to be had, because the channel that we went to stay in the deep part of the water was probably only 30 to 40 feet wide, and in some places only 10 foot wide. So right here is the cove that my family's house is, and we had to get over there to those docks, and the water's too far down, we couldn't get over there. So I spent the night 30-mile-an-hour winds to see if the anchor would hold, and it held. And then I said, I'll just leave the boat here, and I left it there, and I come back on the weekends and sail. And sure enough, the police called and said the boat had broken anchor, and I found it down the road, down the way, and up against somebody's dock, and I had to go pull it back with our pontoon boat. So that was the first learning lesson, not to leave your boat unattended, unless you're sure it's moored well. steer. I'll do it.
Lay down.
All right, there she is. It's an old carry craft from 1968, and the inside was gutted when I got it, and it needs work. It needed, the outboards were needed rebuilt.
Now, I bought that boat for about $5,000, and it was sitting on the side of the road on our way up to when we go to the lake on the weekends. So let's go inside and take a look. And it's got catwalks on both sides, so I think the width is 12 feet if you count those catwalks. So once, like I said, the inside of that was gutted. So I put, you know, the helm was there, but like the seat and the kitchen cabinets and the refrigerator was there. But the rest all had to be redone. So this boat has 2 engines in it, and they both ran really good, except the outboards needed rebuilt, and there was a guy down there that works on them, and he spent the winter rebuilding them for me for cheap. I think I paid like maybe $1,000 to have them both rebuilt, and 2 of them, and he can't put them on too. So I couldn't beat that. And that's what it looks like if you were looking forward, if you were driving the boat. And the stairs, if you wanted to, you could make that boat a double-decker. You could build up a top, or you could put a screened-in patio up top if you wanted to. And then let's turn around here. And then, so, you know, we fixed it up. I have a buddy I flipped some houses with, and like I got that kitchen table for free. The sofa I got, I think, for $300, and it's a sleeper sofa at JCPenney's. Had a big screen TV in it, and then we put that ceiling in that's with glued some vinyl up there, and bought like a little TV stand. And then some of the decorations and stuff all came from some of the houses that I was involved in flipping. And then there's the bathroom, and then it was just one of those funky old toilets that you have to empty every time you use it for the weekend. And then we had a TV in the back room, and then a nice, I think I paid $200 for probably a $1,000 mattress, and it was at a surplus place. And then we bought really nice comforter and sheets. And now the heat, that day it was like 10 degrees, and we had that heater, the other one in the bedroom, and I had like I put a little bitty heater fireplace right there, and they kept it pretty warm in there. It was pretty nice. I liked it. You know, we never did ever put it in the water. The pontoons were rusted, and they need a lot of welding done to it. But I ended up selling it to a guy, and he came over, welded up the bottom, and drug it off. I don't know what he did with it. I think he turned around and sold it to somebody else for more than what I sold it to him for. So she's probably down in the Lake of the Ozarks somewhere floating around. And I kind of miss that old houseboat. We had a lot of good times because we used it. It sat there for a good 4 or 5 years. And so when we'd go down there and have a party or hang out with all the family, that was a place I would stay. Now back to the present. We got the 2 mains put up with the new sacrificials on them, and but they're on the opposite side because the furlers spin the opposite way. So that's the future.